So before getting into this video, a clear disclaimer that I will be covering spoiler content for DanMachi, not just talking about the recent light novels, but also theorizing on future light novels, and of course the ending for DanMachi and where I think the story could go. And of course, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, hitting the like, leaving a comment down below who your favorite character is, and if you want to do more than that, consider becoming a Patreon member to support the channel and allowing me to continue to do what I do online. So the relationship between Belle and Hestia is always a relationship that I've sometimes struggled to get my head around, because the anime does it in a certain way, the light novel does it in a certain way, but Belle and Hestia's relationship always has felt like a mother and son kind of relationship. Hestia has always been a very motherly type figure, trying to protect her child from all those things, but at the same time there does feel like that Hestia wants more than just a kind of familiar and goddess kind of relationship, that she wants to pursue more than just that, almost like a kind of like a cutesy little couple in high school kind of thing, where they hold hands and kissy and go on dates, but nothing beyond that in a close intimate way. Say like what would Freya would want Rebel, where it would be much more intimate in the bed and doing some crazy fun stuff, crazy night all night, or crazy town. So to me, I feel like there's a bit of a difference between what Hestia wants and what other goddesses, but also what Belle wants with Eyes. Like, Belle clearly wants to be on an even footing with Eyes, and I do believe that is going to be the ending. Whether people want to go down this idea that there's going to be a harem ending, or people think that because the anime keeps pushing Hestia and Belle together that there's going to be some relationship between that's not going to be the case. I do believe that it is clearly going to be a Belle and Eyes ending, and that's what's been hinted from the very beginning of the story. But again, it's up to you how you want to interpret the light novels. Clearly the author is going to demonstrate what he has intended later on in the light novels. But I do think the relationship, as I mentioned in my previous video, is going to pivot in the next couple of volumes with the Great Faction War, with Eyes and Belle coming closer together, and Hestia and Loki still being that comedy duo, but they will work together and allow some cooperation on a step-by-step basis based on the different situations. And I think they will kind of work together when the need arises, because also if they just always work together, it makes it harder to do more side story for Eyes' group and completing that overarching story that still has many components and strings yet to finish. And Belle has his own journey as well with his friends, and combining all the friends and all the other side characters all together would get very messy for the writer to try and continue the story on. But for me, the anime has always portrayed Hestia as kind of like a major key character in his romance, while the light novel has always put Eyes as the major key character. And I think the anime has done a very poor job at portraying Eyes as a character, and has kind of always pushed Hestia. And I think the clear reason for that is because Hestia sells better from an anime perspective because of fan service reasons, so they push that a lot more to sell the anime, while the light novels has clearly been very heavily directing towards Eyes and Belle being that relationship. I don't believe it is going to be a harem ending, which is why I do hope that many of the other characters that do have feelings for Belle find other things in life, whether it's just they're able to move on and continue life as normal, or if they find new romances, like say for example Lily, maybe she could hook up with someone else in another particular familiar members group like Loki's, which has been hinted at as a possible romance, but kind of got sidelined because Belle kind of was being protective of her. And this is what I mean about Belle, is that, and sometimes I get frustrated with the story for doing this, is that there's this side story where, or side story chapter where Lily has a discussion with one of the Loki familiar members, the Prom, the one that's the strategist, and he wants to pursue a relationship with Lily, not because he has feelings for her, but because of forwarding their race's fame, showing the races that they can prosper, grow, etc. So he's doing it more or less for his own personal feelings and more for the greater good of his race and his people. While Lily still technically has feelings for Belle, and Belle gets kind of a bit protective, kind of does his thing, and ends up, in a way, confessing but not confessing. And that's how I see it. But at the same time, it's like, clearly Belle has no feelings for Lily in a romantic sense, but he basically does something that indicates that he does It doesn't, and that's what frustrates me, because unless the story is going to go down a harem ending and he's going to end up hooking up with Lily, the Fox Girl, Eyes, Freya, technically Sia as well, and then Hestia as well, I just don't see that being an ending. I clearly see Eyes and Belle being the ending. So all of this kind of intertwines together, because when you see something like what Belle does with Lily, it kind of gives a false perception to Lily, and it kind of strings it along, this possible romance. And the same thing kind of happens with Hestia, where Hestia kind of constantly tries to push her feelings forward. And it does feel like in the anime, it's a lot more like Hestia is really pushing it, and that kind of story is being pushed forward, while in the light novels it feels more like a speed bump. Now, I could be interpreting it wrong. Tell me in the comment section. I think some people will just tell me I'm interpreting it wrong because they want a specific romance, but I've always felt like the light novels has always pushed Eyes as the main love interest, and that Hestia is a speed bump and is kind of that overly protective mother figure. And I do feel like it's kind of hard to interpret how a god and a goddesses feel towards their familiar members, because sometimes it's very romantic and very much pushing down that route. Like, for example, Wealth and Hephaestus, clearly there's a romance building there. Like, Wealth is trying to build respect for her, while she clearly has some feelings for him, like a bit of a crush kind of thing. And that's building out of the fact that he's building a respect, showing who he is, and impressing her, while he's still trying to do that and is completely oblivious to her own feelings. She has shown that she has feelings towards Wealth. So that's one thing I do like about DanMachi, is that there are other romances going on, and it's not just focused only on Belle. But I would like to see other characters maybe move on a little bit from liking Belle and be able to find their own romances. New characters maybe be introduced that could help. Maybe Belle could be a great wingman and find some love for these other girls that are a bit too attached to him. That would be kind of cool. But I do feel like they're going to keep pushing down that potential harem romance until finally he does make the decision to finally confess his feelings towards Eyes. And if Eyes feels the same way at the time, or if there's something else that happens, then they finally get together, and then those other characters have to move on. But my only concern with that is that the author will just kind of sideline their progression after that. I don't know how the author's going to do it. It will be interesting, but I think Hestia is one of those that will always be the motherly figure on the side, that will always love and care for him, but will never be able to get the feelings that she wants from Belle sent back to him. And I think she needs to be respectful of that as well, rather than being too pushy. And I think that's the issue with the anime, that I feel is that she does feel too pushy. But even in the light novel, she does that as well. But I feel like the anime kind of condones it a little bit better, because it's good fan service and comedy, while the light novels does go more down that, like, okay, she's a speed bump, she's a bit pushy, but Belle is very determined to be Riv Eyes. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of their relationship and all the other different components, and how Belle's going to navigate towards this giant harem that he has to navigate through? Because for me, my opinion has changed over time as new volumes have come out, as my thoughts have changed and molded, and as I've read stuff over again. And it will probably change as time goes on as well. So I will definitely readdress that as my opinions change and mold, and as the story continues. But it is a fun, interesting topic to discuss about. So of course, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more anime content, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.